Hey guys, welcome back to TJY Productions. Today I'm going to demonstrate how I build my little switch position indicator boards. These LEDs that I'm using are just three node, 2-color LEDs. We have a red with, if you can see with my dying button cell battery, and a green depending on which side the circuit gets completed on. I'm not going to be using these where this one's red, this one's green, and this one's red, this one's green, and have them flip. I wanted to originally, but I couldn't quite get them to work right with the switch machines. I maybe have figured out how to rectify that, but I don't care to. I think having this route green for straight, this route red for reverse is much easier to distinguish from afar, or for someone that's not familiar with my layout. Okay, I can very clearly see that red means I'm going this track. The color doesn't necessarily correspond with knowing the route, but it will help show you the route. I don't know, I'm rambling at this point, but that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to be using these bicolor LEDs as single color LEDs for the sake of this project. I've got these resistors, which actually came with my little nano LED headlights that I bought off Amazon for super cheap. But they work for this, and I know the DCC is, I think, roughly 12 volts, and this says 9 to 14 and a half, so that's what we're doing. So I need one of those. I don't like that these leads bend like super easily, so I have a method for reinforcing them. Other things you're going to need in this project, obviously wire. I have single strand, I think this is 20 gauge wire. It's a spool of 500 feet that I bought years ago, and I'm still getting my money's worth out of it. Is it confusing that everything underneath the layout is red and white? Yes, absolutely. But it's what I have, it's what I'm going to use. So, yeah. And obviously, wire strippers, which I seem to have misplaced. What else? A drill bit. I had a drill bit that I've put away, stupidly enough. I believe 13/64 of an inch is the correct size that fits the LED head through the cardboard. So I've been using this. I don't know how well you can see, but it gets the LED in there snug, and then from the back side I simply super glue it once it's secure. Heat shrink, electrical tape, your standard soldering iron, rosin core solder is what I'm using here, which I've had good luck with. So anyway, let's get started. So I've got two bicolor LEDs, and like I said, I'm using one as a green and one as a red, just because I realized that seems easier. I've marked, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a red mark here. I marked the red ones with Sharpie. I tested all these with a button cell battery before, just so I know. But if these weren't bent, you can see that the middle leg is the common leg, the common negative. I think it's negative. And then the outer two, which are a medium and a short length, are for the red or the green. But yeah, like I said, I've marked them with a red Sharpie, so it's very easy to not get those mixed up. So the first thing I've done, or like to do, since I know that these are going to only be on one at a time, I will share this resistor between the two on the long negative leg and use that shared resistor leg as the common, which will go to the frog power, and then each of the single red or the single green from each individual LED then will go to the appropriate track power to match whichever way. So if the switch is lined straight, I'll set whichever rail makes the green one come on, and when you throw it, whichever one makes the red one come on, because the frog will change polarity, which means the rails are going to be opposite, but I will test them before I fully secure it. But I always start with the short lead for the resistor. And I know these are going to be close together, so I don't get too carried away with length. I want them kind of close together. I'll do 2 short wires, tie the resistor into it, and then another wire which will then connect to the frog output of the switch machine. So since these 2 wires, the red and the white, are kind of tied together, I'm just going to use clipped a short little bit, and I'm going to strip a little off. I'm not really a fan of how this wire strips. It's been difficult in the past, but like I said, I've got a ton of it, so it's what I'm going to use. So, since we are starting with the negative, these helping hands, amazing. I don't know why I waited so long to buy one. Alright. One other thing I like to do is put a folded up damp piece of paper towel underneath of this to catch any possible drippings, just in case it gets a little messy. There we go. There's that one. And I know that I need a longer piece to find the rail power. So I'm gonna cut off a piece just a little longer than a foot in length. Is it too much? Yeah, probably. But that's what I found. And these will be the individual leads to the track power. Off of what I think is, well, the positive end of the battery connects to that, if I remember right. What did I do with the battery? I don't know. Oh, it's right here. Pick it up. The positive side goes to the outside legs. I'm assuming those are the positive ends of that. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm not electrically literate, but I know enough to connect some wires to some LEDs. So here we are. This position. Close. There we go. Yeah. One thing that I do like to do, since I only have red and white, is make sure that the red and the red connect. But again, it doesn't matter. It's going to determine or depend on which track it needs anyway. It's possible this will connect to the white bus instead. It all depends on the way the switch machine has the frog set. Cut some small pieces of that. Slide one up. Slide two up. And I've enjoyed using a Bic pizza lighter to get that good and hot. There we go. So this is without the resistor, one LED. So now I will work on the next LED. This is going to be the green one. For the green one, I like to use a white wire for the positive side. And since I'm only using the one side, that's why I bend this out. Could I clip off the other side that I'm not using? Yeah, I could. But I don't know. It seems like if I change my mind or something down the road, it'd be nice to still have all these LEDs fully by color without having to get creative to get them working again if I so please. Yeah, let's get started. Let's find the short ribbon to add to the other lead. I wish I had these pivoted a little more. So things like that. Where hot solder's funny. We haven't. They're great. And yes, I could have some of these separately, but doesn't make much difference to me. I want to do both at the same time. Next, I'll grab 2 more pieces of string. Slide these bad boys up. And okay. Easy peasy. So that is both LEDs. White side on the green one here, red side on the red one here. So now I need to connect these negative ones and add a resistor. Do that simply twist these together. Use your needle nose if you want a really good solid connection, which I do. I don't want this coming undone, even though I am going to end up soldering over this. Make sure those stay put good and tight. Next, I'm going to find that resistor. Here she is. I'm going to bring these two together. Like I said, these resistors are pretty flimsy, but they'll work. So maybe not the prettiest, but it's solid. So now we have a resistor. And now we can test these as I knock everything over on my workbench. Somehow I hold the resistor to the white on this end to the red, gives me the green light. And if I pick the red to red, you see the red light comes on. So that's the idea. Frog power will go through the resistor, and each of these longer leads from each individual one will set the color appropriately. So now I want a small wire which will ultimately end up in the frog. Oh, please, the frog clouds. Okay. You can, I'm going to shorten these leaves up a little bit. I've not found any issues doing so. Okay. And now, as I stated earlier, the resistors, see, these are so flimsy, and I'm worried about breaking them or having them bent and snapping off. So the way I fix that is to use a wooden skewer and electrical tape. It's very janky, but it works. Wrap this up in electrical tape to keep that nice and sturdy, and then there is no risk of breaking it, which is great because these are glued into cardboard, so it's not like, you know, you can just change the light bulb. The whole board would be ruined. So electrical tape, peel that off and stick it to the skewer and just start winding that around. Like, it's pretty? Absolutely not. Will it work? You betcha. There we go. So this is the very janky assembly. We have a red, we have a green, they share a resistor which will go to the frog, and the other two leads go to the track power. Just like that. Now we need a board to mount these LEDs. So for that, as I said, I've got just a piece of corrugated cardboard. Happens to be white on this side. I think it gives it a nice clean look. Use whatever. You could use regular cardboard and paint it, which I might do if I run out of white. I do want to get nice hardboard material and acrylic plexiglass and actually make nice panels with, like I said, adding the push buttons to each switch, so you can throw them in the field with the push of a button instead of having to call up the address on a Digitrax throttle. But that means I gotta go spend money in this stuff I already have. So the way I build this board, this is the East Oregon switch that needs to have an indicator. So I build a line that's double wide, which gives plenty of room for the LED to be added. And then I need the siding, which is up higher. And I'm trying to keep in mind that I'm going to have two LEDs and all their wires in here, so I need room for that. But again, double the thickness there, come down at roughly a 45 to draw the switch point. Again, double that up. There we go. That is the diagram. So probably right here and right here is where I would like my LEDs to go. And then at the top we need the name. Just like that. I probably could have centered that better, but I didn't. So here we are. So now that that's done, I need to find my drill so we can drill these holes out. One thing I forgot to mark. Is my tracks. Siding, main. So my green light will go down here, my red light will go up here. I don't know if it makes more sense seeing it now. My plan was to have red, green if you were going straight, or green, red if you were going in the siding. But I think having those colors still forces you to have to look and study it and go, oh, okay, well the green one's on the siding, so that means it's this way, or the green's on the main, that means it's that way. I didn't want it to be that complicated, so we've switched it up where green corresponds with the straight route, red corresponds with that diverging route, and it's a lot simpler. You don't have to sit and study. You can look across the room and see just either a green or a red light instead of a green red or a red green, and you have to try to tell, okay, what does this mean? This way is a lot less confusing in my opinion. So now that we're done with that, grab my drill, throw in this 13/64 of an inch drill bit, and it's not pretty, it's just cardboard. I kind of tip this up here off the edge of the table so I don't put a hole all the way through it. Try to center the bit on my track line very gently through there to make a nice clean hole, and anything below it. Now you can see that it tore the corrugated cardboard. That's not a big deal. What I like to do first is take an LED and poke it through the top side to push in all the loose fibers and stuff. Push them through so it looks a little bit cleaner. You can also try clean them up with a X-Acto knife or something like that. But you can see that's a nice clean fit. This is just my single LED, obviously, but it fits nice and snug. It's in there, I mean, pretty tight as is. Obviously I'm going to glue it in place so it stays even sturdier. There it is in the siding. See, it sticks up just a little bit, but not too much. Not enough that it bothers me. It's just cardboard. I only have one board that I've put acrylic over, and I don't like the way it looks over the cardboard, so I'll wait till I get some good hard material to do anything more with the acrylic. I'm hoping to find something where I can add my diagrams that I've built that have all of my track names and labels and things in a dispatcher like format, similar to the ATCS boards, if anyone's seen those. That's how I like to do my rail maps for multiple different things. So it'd be nice to have LEDs and push buttons correspond with those. So now I take my giant assembly that I've made, and I want to verify reds on top, greens on bottom. We see here there's a red lead on the bottom, but it's not connected, which means this is my green LED. My red one, you spin it around, you can see over here there's the red lead. So that is that. Press these down all the way. And now, to make sure they stay put, I'm going to use super glue, and I'm going to use Bob Smith Industries Insta-Set, which will cure this in 8 to 10 seconds. So I hit the Gorilla Glue hard. Just a giant dab on the back. This is just cardboard after all. Make sure it's good and covered well on the edges so it sits better. It's sloppy, but it will work. And then I make sure these are just pushed in about as far as they'll go. And I'll give the Insta-Set a couple squirts. And as that dries, that will be a good switch indicator board. Once this does dry, I will put 2 strips of this double-sided tape across the top, which will give me a nice firm hold on the framework of the layout. So here's one piece. Oh, that was almost too long. I need to put this back on my grocery list too. I use this tape for all kinds of things, mounting decoders and obviously sticking cardboard on the layout and all kinds of things. That's that. So now we get to go rig it up. Next, it's time to mount this cardboard indicator board to the layout, and I'm looking to put it right here. The switch it's going to indicate for is this right here, which, if you saw my last video, was the one where I installed the Cobalt IP digital. It's hard to tell, but I have a little dual control switch machine and a propane switch heater up here to hide the switch throw, so that's pretty neat. So since we're putting new signage up, we'll get rid of this. I don't know if I'll put this somewhere. I've got this nice one up here, so I might not need this anymore, but I don't like to get rid of things. So right there is where this is going to go. So if you guess, the next step is removing the backing off this double-sided tape. You would be correct. And put it up as high as it'll let me go. Square it up. And boom. That is a... So it might be difficult to see, and I apologize for that. But the first thing that needs done is the frog power needs connected to the common on this board. So this is the resistor, this big ol' ugly thing, and the frog lead is right next to the track power leads. So now both these LEDs are getting power from the frog. So what I need to do is figure out between this red wire or this white wire. The switch is currently in the normal position, so I need the green light. So I don't know if you can see, this front rail here is the red. We are going to take the white because that's what's up, and we see the white lights the green up on the red. So I need the white wire here to connect with the red. If I connect the red, we can test this the other way too. Take this red wire which goes to this red LED, and if I connect it to the red rail, it's on, if I can hold it just right. But the switch position is normal, so I need this to basically sit like that. And then I don't have a throttle nearby, but if I were to throw this, it would reverse and flip the red one on. So if you remember from my last video, if you watch it, on the solution, I'm going to call it this bundle of chaos. It's immediately right next to the solution, and I can add that one. I need to more of that. I can just add that to the bunch. There we go. Whoa, seconds. Okay, right up. That's probably a little much, but you'll go. There we go. That's what it is. So now, the white and the red need to connect. So this, we do last twice. I'll just stick up to the wire that goes to the machine. Like so. Close that up. Okay, so now I've got Y throttle up, and I can find East Oregon. And you see the light change, and the switch has changed. If I throw this back, green for main, line straight rail. Same is true here with switch number 3. This is West Aurora. I hope this makes sense. So originally the siding would be red in this case, and the main would be green, and you throw it and they would flip. So the siding would then be green and the main would then be red. But looking at that from afar, no matter what, you'd still have two lights that you would have to discern which route green over red or red over greens means. But this way it's so much simpler. And even look at the Y throttle, it's not showing the colors very well, but these show red and green as well, which correspond red to red. If I throw this green to green in a closed state, which gives you that. This switch is thrown in reverse, so the red light's on, but it corresponds with its route too, so you can very easily look at any one of these. What are you doing, bud? You got something stuck under there? Oh, you're looking for a piece of cardboard. There you go. Yeah, you get that piece of cardboard. It's his enrichment. Any one of these, though, the crossovers especially, look at this. So let me throw 14 and 16. How confusing would that be if that one turned green and the straight rails stayed red? It would be so much more difficult. I feel like this is a clearer way, and I'm glad it worked out this way. I would have hated to have done all the work to get green, red, red, green pairs just to hate it. I mean, I feel like this is very simple. Like, I've got greens, you know, green on main 2 in the yard lead down here, main 1 to main 2 here. You run into an issue at switch 15, but it shows you that that route is not fully lined. So I think this was the better choice. West Oregon I need to redo because I must have bumped it and broke the thing, because the siding doesn't light up anymore. But still, West Oregon's dark, you're lined for the hole, and if it's green, you're not. So that is how you wire those. It's kind of complicated, kind of confusing a little bit, but very handy, very convenient. I mean, without this having to walk up and look and verify your route down whichever track you're gonna go. Oh, and my mess of wires that I need to clean up. Thanks for reminding me. Not that it wasn't doable, but this is so much. I mean, I can look anywhere in the room. Now I can see East Oregon, West Aurora down there. Coming here into the office, Pogue Junction, green to green, WR, behind that mess of boxes. I mean, it's just amazing being able to see this and trust that instead of having to, you know, do that. And every one of these, now there's a single light showing you that that's reversed. So I think colors for normal and reversed, but corresponding them with the appropriate route is definitely the way to go. So yeah. And the other awesome thing is the Y throttle works on my phone because JMRI is up. So now I can run all of these, line a route. I don't have block detection, but I can add like BNSF 4336, which is this freight train right here, and just drag and drop that. That's here on the tail lead. So I can line the tail lead up and in and around Oregon if I wanted to, or we can straight rail that. And he's lined all the way. And then I can go and pull up the throttle. Then panel Pro back up, throw that on my other monitor. And we're railroading. All from a computer. And now, in addition to the LEDs that I could walk around the room, I can look at JMRI too. And it's nice having organ wired up. As I mentioned in my last video, I had the surface mount, the Cobalt SS throws. Didn't like them. But the IP digital ones have been great, and this is why. Being able to do this, being able to add the indicator lights with relative ease, all kinds of things. It's been awesome. So yeah, that's it for our video. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time, won't we? Good boy.